Hey, so today's video, I thought it would be cool to talk about some new spring releases. I wanted to include some old things in here though as well, because some things have been released since the last episode of this that I did. I don't do these super frequently because I feel like there's not many releases that actually, like, spark an opinion. Most of the time I just look at it and I'm just like, eh. But a few things have released that have caught my eye for the right and the wrong reasons, so I thought I would do this video right now. And yes, I got a haircut. It's different. I styled my hair differently. Everything's different. Yes, I need to bleach my roots. Don't at me. So let's get started. I'll put all of the pictures right here. The first one that I want to talk about is the BH Cosmetics Zodiac palette, and they came out with one that's Pisces. I'm a Pisces. I love astrology. Not this palette though. They have released quite a few palettes since this one. However, I just look at it and I'm thinking, where did it all go wrong? There are literally 4 greens in this palette, and they are the correct kind of tones, I think. Seafoam type greens. But then there's like a pewter, and 3 browns. And this palette's just underwhelming, man. And while I'm here, I might as well talk about the Aries palette that they came out with. I'll be honest, I don't know many Aries people. Mainly because I like to stay the fuck away from them. In the nicest way possible. I'm sorry if you're an Aries and you're watching this. You guys scare me a little bit. And this palette, like, whenever I think Aries, I think fire. Like, the most out of all of the fire signs, in my experience, they're the most chaotic. I'm offending so many Aries right now. Look how desaturated it is. Like, if I'm gonna do an Aries palette, hang on, let me whip out a palette that I think would suit an Aries. If I were gonna do an Aries palette, I was thinking something like the Certified Affinity palette. All of these red tones right here, that's an Aries. Like, this versus the BH one. What's more Aries to you? I just think that they're playing it too safe with putting browns in pretty much every single one of these palettes. This is another relatively old release, but I wanted to talk about it because I think it came to Beauty Bay very recently, and it's the, what is it? The Colored Rain Safari Rain palette. Now, I love this palette. I feel like it should have come out in autumn, but I still think it's very pretty, very beautiful. However, I've seen some comparison videos between this palette and the Juvia's Place Tribe palette, and I actually picked up the Tribe palette and I'm wearing it on my eyes today. I'll do a little close-up of this eye makeup look right here. I've only used it once today, and I know that I love the Juvia's Place formula, and this one is no exception. I'm enjoying this palette. And I feel like if you have the Juvia's Place Tribe palette, you don't need this one. This one's a bit more of like a muted, neutral version of this. A few things from Colourpop, the Just My Luck palette. It's a green palette from Colourpop, and I really like it. I do think I would have changed it somewhat. I'm thinking about doing a palettes I would redesign video soon. Let me know if you'd want that. And I feel like some of the tones in here are too similar. However, I think it's really pretty. I won't be picking it up because I have a lot of green eyeshadows in my collection, but it is a good step for Colourpop because I want them to create more of these palettes with little monochromatic colour stories. I think it's a good idea. Colourpop also came out with their spring collection. I think it's called the Sweet Talk collection, or the palette is called the Sweet Talk palette. Has some Jelly Much eyeshadows, their cream blushes, and the lipsticks, and the palette. The lipsticks, pretty standard for what Colourpop releases every single time they release lipsticks. I do love their Luxe lipstick formula. I'm wearing one today underneath a darker lip liner. I'm wearing the shade What's Your Sign. Jelly eyeshadows freak me out. Like, any type of jelly consistency in anything, food, like, oh my god, I can't stand it. It's disgusting to me. However, the palette is very pretty. Like, I look at this palette and I want it. However, I have the Nabla Soul Blooming palette, and that one's got all of the pink tones that are in this one, except there's a few more purples thrown in. I won't pick it up, but I really like it. And the last thing from Colourpop that I'm going to be talking about is their Disney Villains collection. Oh my gosh. I will say this is a significant step up from their horrific Disney princess collection. Well, at least in my opinion. If this is what being a Disney princess is like, fucking burn me. I do not want to be a Disney princess. This collection, the lipsticks are pretty safe. I would describe this collection as safe, except for the packaging. The packaging is amazing. They came out with highlighters, eyeshadows, the eyeshadow palette, the lipsticks, and lip glosses. Lip glosses, a couple of them I think are quite pretty. I'm not going to be picking up anything from this collection though. I don't know, I don't really like any of the villains that they chose. I only like Cruella de Vil, and that's it. But again, to be fair, this collection isn't really targeted towards someone like me. I am not a Disney fan. I know that's controversial. I have a few Disney movies that I adore and I really connect with, but on the whole, not a huge Disney person. Not a big fan of it. I know someone is watching this and they're probably going to be like, I'll find you and I'll burn you. Speaking of another collection that I'm not really connected to, personally at least, is the Urban Decay Game of Thrones collection. They have been sneak peeking this, or like teasing it, for ages. For so long. And we finally got a reveal last night, or this morning actually. I very much believe that these are just collector's purposes. I'm sure the eyeshadow formula is great. I'm not a big fan of the Urban Decay eyeshadow formula. However, I've never seen Game of Thrones, I've never read the books. You'd think I would, because it's something that I feel like I would love, like fantasy, anything I like. However, I just never got the round to watching Game of Thrones. I feel like it's because I have no time. But other than that, the eyeshadow shades, they're very dirty and grungy. And I feel like that kind of suits the whole aesthetic of the show. Again, I'm speaking from a non-fan perspective. However, for me, this is a bit too neutral. But I understand that they got the inspiration from the show, and obviously it's going to be very much this colour story. I look at this colour story and I think of fantasy, you know what I mean? So it makes sense to me, but it's not something I would buy. This is something that I saw, and I've barely seen anybody talk about these. These are the Lime Crime Software blushes. Now, I love the inspiration behind this. It's like, tech, and I like how they're called software. I don't know why that like tickles me. The packaging is so pretty, and I'll put a picture of all of the shades swatched. The shade selection's really great. I'm not in the market to buy any more blushes right now. However, when my e.l.f. blush in the shade Mellow Mauve is completely finished, or I'm just sick of it, I really want to buy the shade Petal.jpg, which is like a mauvey type colour. Like, I really like that shade. There's a lot of shades in here that I actually would love. However, again, I don't need any more blush. But I will probably buy one of these somewhere down the line, because these are permanent, so don't need them right now. Probably will buy them later on. The next two things are both in the same colour family, and one of them I'm dying over, and the other one I'm dying in a just... Let's talk about that one first. The Tarte Icy Betch palette. It's not an April Fool's joke this time. They actually finally made it after a year. And this is kind of an ugly version of the first one. I'll put a picture of the first Icy Betch palette that they... If you don't know, like, the tea, basically Tarte came out with... On April Fool's, they released this image and said, oh wow, we're coming out with this palette, like, it's great, but it was an April Fool's joke, kind of mocking people that actually like this, and they're like, oh yeah, who would wear blue eyeshadow? Wow, that's so out there. Tarte, bitch, all of your palettes look the same. They are all varying shades of sand. You can't fucking talk, man. And it kind of backfired on Tarte, because this is the most interesting palette they've ever come out with. Now, I have the Tarte Shape Tape, and I do enjoy it. I have tried a couple of Tarte products before, however, as a brand, I'm not a big fan of them. And after a year, they finally come out with the Icy Betch palette, but it's actually, a real thing. And, this one, why did they change, like, the pans at the bottom that are rectangle? And, like, if they kept the same layout as the Icy Betch palette, the original one, if they came out with that palette, it would probably sell way more. However, this one, the layout is kind of weird. I'm not a big fan of it. And a lot of people seemingly have the same response. I've been reading some comments on Trend Moods Instagram, on the Beauty News Instagram page, and everyone's collectively saying it's too late, and this is quite ugly. And the last thing I'm going to be talking about here, this is the Jeffree Star Blue Blood collection. Take my money. When Jeffree released, like, his video showing the palette and the swatches, Lord, I adore this palette. I've been thinking about it ever since he sneak peeked it, and it was actually released everywhere, like on Beauty Bay and on his website yesterday, the day that I'm recording this. It's the 30th of March today, and I really want it. He also came up with some Liquid Frost highlighters, which I'm not really into, and a mirror, some lip scrubs. I might pick up the lip scrubs actually, because I'm running low on my lip scrub, and a liquid lipstick set. The liquid lipsticks. It's just blue lipstick, and I love it. I know for a fact that I don't need the liquid lipstick set from this collection. However, I want it. I love blue lipstick a lot, and a few new shades are in here, and oh man, I love it. But I feel like out of all of the things, I could probably say no to the liquid lipstick collection, probably. However, the palette, I adore it. I adore the palette so much, and I was actually talking about it with my mum yesterday, and she said, honey, look at all of these shades, you have all of them, you have all of these shades. You don't need it. And this palette is £48. I would never spend over £50 for a makeup product, and this is right up there. However, you guys know how much I love blue eyeshadow and how much I adore it, and this is permanent, so it's not going away anytime soon. I really want it so badly. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed my little ramblings and little rants about some new releases and some old releases. Let me know if there are things that you will be picking up in this video or your thoughts about different products. I'd love to hear you guys in the comments down below. And yeah, as of that, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!